Hi folks, welcome back for another episode in our Faith in Practice video series. I'm here to talk to you today about a very important spiritual discipline that's easier to agree with in principle than it is for us to actually do in practice. And I'm sitting here with these chocolate chip cookies, feeling a bit like a dog with a biscuit right on its snout that has to hold still and can't eat the biscuit until its master says it's okay. Because the discipline that we want to talk about today is self-denial. When Jesus called his disciples in Mark chapter 8, verse 34, he called them and he said, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." Somehow, following Jesus has got to involve us being willing and able to deny ourselves. Normally, we resist and resent denial. Even when we're choosing it ourselves, it can be hard to accept that we're not getting something that we want. But the Bible teaches us that a valuable spiritual practice is fasting, when we make the choice to forego, to not give ourselves something that ordinarily is good and it's fine and it's permissible. But for the sake of seeking God and following Jesus, we choose not to do it. Now, there's many reasons why there's times in our lives where we can't get what we want, or we choose not to take something that we could have even though we want it. But denial becomes worship when we're offering it to the Lord for the sake of Jesus. And when we do that, whether it's a voluntary self-denial or whether it's an involuntary deprivation, it's part of following Jesus and it becomes worship. In this way, I take something that I agree with in principle, the worth of following and obeying Christ, and I bring it into practice by saying, in this moment, Jesus, you're worth more to me than any of these other things that I could be doing. To be faithful followers of Christ, we have to practice the discipline of saying no to ourselves so that we can say yes to Jesus. One of the counterintuitive realities that Jesus taught about is that those who seek to save our lives will lose them, but when we lose our lives for his sake, we'll find them. And so when we choose to leave behind some of the privileges and pleasures that pretend to give us real life, that's when we can begin to really discover the reality of the life that Jesus gives us. It's in the practice of laying down what I want that I demonstrate and even make greater the reality of Christ's Lordship in my life. Fasting can take many forms. Food would be one, recreation and amusements, entertainments are others as well. Whenever we choose to forego something that ordinarily we'd receive as a good gift from God for the sake of honoring and drawing near to the giver himself, we can turn self-denial into worship. This is such a valuable spiritual practice. It's one that's easy for us to agree with in principle, but harder to actually do in practice. And therefore, it takes practice. I want to invite and urge you today to practice self-denial. Choose some specific things that you can do, not just today, but throughout this week. It might be that you forego some dessert or other food during the day. Or it might be that when you normally would pull out your phone and either distract yourself or give your mind a break by scrolling through things or playing a game, that you instead turn your time to the Lord and reach to him in prayer. Practicing self-denial may not be one of the most fun things you do this week, but as Jesus calls us, it's certainly one of the things that's part of our discipleship. God bless you.